So hi everyone. I'm going to talk about today about spirituality and whether or not I think it's a waste of time. I remember, and it's actually a kind of difficult question, difficult thing for me to answer. Um, I remember a while ago, there was a client who came to me and she'd be given this assignment where she was kind of expected to ask different people about their kind of spiritual beliefs. And I suppose I seem like an obvious person to ask because I'm a mindfulness teacher. And so she asked me. And I think she was very surprised by how that conversation went. Because I really struggled with it. I really struggled to answer her questions. And mostly because, I no longer, and for a long time now, I don't really know what people are referring to when they talk about spirituality. And even before I made this video, I actually had another look online because it doesn't come up in my life. I don't think about it too much. But because of this, I thought I'd make this video. I refresh my mind. What does spirituality mean? And I look up the definition and I understand the words, but I no longer get it. I no longer really get what it's referring to. And this is surprising to me in some ways because you think I would have a lot to say in it, given that I devoted so much of my life to what would be kind of called spiritual practices. There was a long period, years where I meditated for up to 6 hours a day. Years I did that. And so you would kind of think, or at least I would have thought, someone who does that kind of thing, would have a lot to say about spirituality, but I actually don't. And I certainly, I don't consider myself a spiritual person. I don't think in that way. And it's just become something that to me it just seems confusing, or unnecessary for me. Because out of all of those years of seeking, out of all of those years of doing what people would call spiritual practices, it all led to a very, very simple thing, which was stillness. I didn't discover, I developed a relationship with stillness. And that's what came from all of that. Now, this stillness, to me, has got nothing to do necessarily with spirituality, in the sense that it doesn't require doing any specific practices because it's always there. Once I started to recognize it, and once I kind of developed a relationship, it's always there. It's there when I'm sitting on the toilet. It's there, no matter what I'm doing, it's there when I'm running. When it's not associated with any particular practice. Sure, there's things I can do if I sit, particularly if I sit still. You can kind of, you would say, devote more attention to it. But it doesn't require that. It's a constant. It's become a constant presence in my life. And to kind of see it, and it wouldn't. There's nothing to say about it in regards to beliefs. There's nothing to say about it in regards to ideas about it, or any of that. It's completely free of that. It's in fact it's the opposite of all of that. So is spirituality a waste of time? Obviously, those years of practices were part of my journey to this kind of deeper understanding of stillness and a deeper appreciation of stillness, which to me, as I say, is the only thing that's important, for me, in regards to all of this. It's the only thing that's undeniable. It's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that actually provides, a refuge that's always there, and it's the most incredible thing, I could ever have imagined. But so all of those practices were part of my journey to that. But not necessarily for the reasons I might have thought, because a lot of my kind of insights around stillness happened because when those practices failed, when I'd reached a point where those practices weren't doing anything, that they'd stop working. Like they were the moments when I would become kind of move deeper into stillness, like that complete surrender. And I also see there was times when the whole spiritual thing, was just a kind of an identity prop, an ego prop. And then I'd certainly say, it was a waste of time. But even more so, there was times when it was definitely more than a waste of time, when it was actually dangerous. And this is all of those years, and perhaps the majority of time, when I was trying to use spirituality as a way to avoid life, as a way to escape pain, as a way to, this kind of crazy idea of somehow being whisked off to a bliss cloud so I could avoid all the messiness of life. To me that was worse than wasting time. That was completely going in the wrong direction. Because what I found is that when I kind of avoided my pain, when I avoided, the kind of the journey of life, it just starts to work against me. It just starts to make things far more difficult. You go into this state, I became more dysfunctional. So, sure, these things, and it's all about how, I suppose, we're relating to things. And I'm not trying to become the word police, about, suddenly spiritual isn't cool or anything like that. I don't mean any of that. That doesn't bother me, whatever. But I suppose the point I'm trying to make is in regards to what's important. I don't see that as important. That sure, there's lots of practice that we can do that fall under the category of spirituality, but I really do feel that, the real progress is kind of, it happens as that becomes less important, as the whole idea of spirituality becomes less important. And because, this is a life experience. See, one of the problems I think with this whole idea of spirituality, it's kind of like dividing life up in a very kind of unhelpful way. Like, so I do have my spirituality part of life, and then I have the rest of my life. That to me isn't what I wanted. As I said, when it comes to stillness and this kind of deep relationship with stillness, which was what I was looking for, it's always there. It's not a practice. It's not a special thing I do every day. It's something that's a constant companion. And that's what I wanted. So to kind of avoid it in any way just wouldn't make any sense. So I just thought I'd put that video out there. Please, feel free to leave any comments, to give it now a like or subscribe to the channel if you'd like to. I do mindfulness coaching. If that's something you're interested in, I'll leave a link underneath the video, and you can certainly check that out. Or just come over to my website, paulgarrigan.com, and have a look. As I say, you'll find a link underneath. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again. Bye bye.